The family of a man shot and killed by a Grand Rapids police officer filing a big money lawsuit in Detroit this afternoon. Also, the U.S. Supreme Court hears arguments in a case with massive implications for future elections. Paula.
Talk about taking it to the next level. I'm going to take you inside a local 7th grade class, and they're actually helping to prepare for experiments for NASA and microgravity.
And right now, Exact Track 40 radar is quiet, but by Friday, it's not going to be quiet. I'll have a timetable for you with some approaching snow all coming up.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
A new lawsuit filed in Detroit today against the city of Grand Rapids and the former police officer who shot and killed Patrick Lyoya in April. Attorney Ben Johnson presented video which he says shows Lyoya was doing nothing wrong before the traffic stop and that he was racially profiled. They argue Christopher Schur did not turn on his lights until he saw a young black man, Lyoya. Civil lawsuit seeking $100 million. Schur is charged with second-degree murder. His trial is expected to start next year. We'll have more from today's news conference coming up on Local 4 News today at 5. Other news at 4, a Troy man is killed trying to pass a semi-truck in a construction zone in Oakland County. Police said the man had to merge because his lane was closing on westbound I-696 at Haggerty in Farmington Hills. Tried to pass a semi but crashed into it and then rolled into a ditch. Police arrived to find the car on fire with the man trapped inside. A major new development in the case of a Melvindale man who's been detained in Saudi Arabia since early November. The family of Mohammed Salem has been told that he is on a plane and on his way back home, set to land at Metro Airport in the next few hours. Salem was taken into custody by Saudi authorities after he was involved in an argument while in line to visit a sacred building in Mecca. Sean Lay has been in contact with Mr. Salem's attorney. We'll have more on this developing story coming up on Local 4 News tonight at 6. All right, time now for our first look at the forecast. And Paul, you got us looking ahead here to what's coming about 2 days hence.
Yes, but fortunately for those with shopping plans, we are fine today and this evening. We are fine tomorrow as well. It's not till Friday, and I'm going to break that down for you in detail coming up in about 10 minutes. Right now, not much May sun and blue sky over the big house. We have temperatures, though, that have still risen well into the 40s. In fact, many of us got into the upper 40s this afternoon. Even up in the Thumb in Lapeer, for example, you're at 42 degrees, still well above average in the 40s. The wind is very light, so we're not even talking about wind chill. So here is Exact Track 40 radar. You can see there's nothing going on around here. We'll just kind of widen out the map here. And we have to the north an area here. You can see a little area of snow that's kind of running across the northern part of the state in the UP, but that's not affecting us down here. So we are in good shape tonight. And we're in good shape tomorrow as well. But look at this. We'll have dry conditions with temperatures only slowly falling to near 40 through the evening hours. We'll be back to talk about that Friday storm in just a few, Dev.
All right, Paul. The Supreme Court today is hearing a case that could dramatically change the election process in America. Kimberly Gill live in the newsroom with what would change and how the justices seem to be reacting so far to the arguments they heard. Kiji.
Hi there, Devin. Yeah, this one is a big ask by the group of North Carolina Republicans who brought the case. They essentially want the Supreme Court to take away the power of state courts to act as a check against state lawmakers when it comes to redrawing congressional districts. Now, the reason they're upset, the North Carolina Supreme Court stepped in and struck down districts drawn by Republican state lawmakers because the new districts would have heavily favored Republicans. The group argued today a provision of the U.S. Constitution known as the Elections Clause gives state lawmakers total control over the times, places, and manner of congressional elections. It's a theory that's been presented before, but the High Court has never supported it. And at least 6 of the justices today have struck a skeptical tone, including Justice Elena Kagan, who commented, quote, "I think what might strike a person is that this is a proposal that gets rid of the normal checks and balances on the way big government decisions are made in this country. And you might think that it gets rid of all those checks and balances at exactly the time when they are needed the most," end quote. And Justice Amy Coney Barrett said the outcome sought by North Carolina Republicans would, quote, "leave judges with difficult lines to draw." So arguments lasted nearly 3 hours today. Justices Alito, Gorsuch, and Thomas seem to be in favor of limiting state courts' authority, but it's impossible to tell how the court as a whole will rule on this one, Devin, but we will continue to monitor it and keep you posted as any new developments happen.
Sure will. All right, KG.
Yeah.
Also, first at 4, we're on top of stories making headlines around the world. Let's start with German authorities who say police there have broken up a violent plot to overthrow the government in Berlin. 25 people arrested this morning in raids carried out by thousands of officers across 11 German states. Prosecutors claim those taken into custody are part of a terrorist group founded last year with the sole purpose of overthrowing the government and installing its own leaders. One of the suspects is a nobleman with a historic royal title in Germany. Others are armed forces veterans. They're scheduled to appear in court today and Thursday. Russian President Vladimir Putin today went on television to paint his country as a victim and talk about what's next with his brutal invasion of Ukraine. Putin said his army could continue fighting in Ukraine for a long time, but he feels there's no reason for a second mobilization of additional soldiers right now. No doubt a relief to a lot of young Russians. He reiterated recent claims that the risk of nuclear war was growing, but that Russia viewed its weapons in a retaliatory fashion rather than strike first options. Putin also claimed the West sees Russia as a second-class country that has no right to exist at all. A local science teacher is having an out-of-this-world week, and it's only Wednesday, but that's because she's just found out she's been given an all-systems go to participate in microgravity science research with NASA while including her 7th graders in the process. Paula Tutman takes us to Troy, where the most exciting class right now is science.
Science is such a cool class. You know what? Especially because, yes, indeed, we are learning about those things in the world around us we already know, but there is still so much we don't know. Somewhere in this crowd of students, there's a teacher, and her name is Colleen Kane. And that's why what she is teaching is so important, because it's not just for her students, it's actually for all of us. Space, the final frontier. These are the lessons students are being taught at Larson Middle School in Troy.
Why don't I have table 1? Come and get goggles.
By their own personal explorer, 7th grade science teacher Colleen Kane.
So one of the tests that you have to do for the tank is pH, which is a measure of how acidic the water is.
Who just found out this week that she is contributing to science experiments in collaboration with, get this, NASA, the Wisconsin Space Grant Consortium, through the Zero Gravity Corporation in a program called the Embedded Teachers Program.
Microgravity, where you go like that.
Yeah, and how you're going to be designing experiments that are going to fly on the microgravity flight.
Just 10 teachers across the nation were chosen to not only participate in microgravity by taking a flight and then conducting experiments that could contribute not only to learning but space exploration in the future.
Will be weightless. It's a parabolic flight, so you do a series of parabolas, and during those you're weightless for what I understand is about 20 seconds at a time. So you have to design experiments that you can test in those 20-second time frames.
So here's how it works. After the holidays, all of the 7th graders will put their heads together to design as many as 4 different experiments.
So the goal really is to get the students involved in microgravity research and use NASA technology, and then analyze the results of the research when I return in May.
The reason experimentation in microgravity, some of us call it zero gravity, but it's really called microgravity. The reason it's so important is while there is so much we as humans do know about so much around us, space, and then deep space, and then deep space travel is really the new frontier.
You're removing that force, so I think they're able to study proteins and things without that extra force of gravity. We're exploring the unknown, and there's always something new to learn.
Because we still need to learn how the body reacts to longer-term microgravity for trips to other planets, we'll need to know how to grow food, replenish water, and a host of other things that we have to develop experiments for to get answers to.
How humans can survive up there, I guess. How we can sort of like grow civilizations up there.
She just like makes me want to learn more about science, and like other teachers didn't really want to be like, I didn't want to learn more about like science with them, but with her I wanted to do that more.
Love teachers like this. Can you imagine kids these days, students talking about growing civilizations on other planets? Very, very exciting. But again, Devin, this is so new to her. She hasn't even had a chance to start scheduling when the students will start working on experiments. So I guess we know what she's going to be doing during her holiday vacation, because the students need to start designing the experiments, easy for me to say, in January. She takes the flight in May. Yay! Exciting stuff.
Oh, it's thrilling. And I love the exercise, the mental exercise the kids have to go through of thinking about what you do with this precious 20 seconds at a time. What a great scientific exercise. That's
No
so great.
pressure.
Yeah, none at all. All right, Paula.